Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys, there's another movie review. Today we're tackling the latest in the MonsterVerse, I guess. Well, not I guess, that's what we're doing. Godzilla vs. Kong. This is the last one. So again, thank you to Recon Trooper for sending me this. It's been a long time coming. I have the whole box right there. I can finally say I've seen all the MonsterVerse so far. I haven't seen the Monarch show. I don't have that thing to watch it. And then, of course, the Godzilla X Kong New Empire is coming out this year at some point. I think January or February or March, maybe. But pretty soon here it's coming out. But this is the latest one in the MonsterVerse Godzilla vs. Kong. And this is the one that I kind of, hear a lot online. That, oh, man, it's the most epic one. And, man, it's just super duper awesome. And there's battles. And it is awesome, and it is super cool. Like, the fight scenes are genuinely awesome. The CGI is, like, top-tier CGI. Really good stuff. But at the same time, it's also the shortest of the MonsterVerse. And normally I don't care about a long movie versus a short movie because most of the time the pacing isn't really an issue. And I don't want to say it's a big issue here, but there are certain aspects where I'm watching and I'm like, alright, Lance Reddick is in this. I know he passed away, but Lance is in this. Cool, the guy from Horizon or whatever, and the dude from John Wick, he's in this, cool, and then he says like one line. And then Serizawa, the guy that sacrificed himself in Godzilla King of the Monsters, like the scientist guy, that Asian dude, he has a son, but like his son is evil, I guess, and he's inside of a decapitated head of Ghidorah, which that all makes sense. That's explained and that works. But like no one is like, hey, that's you're supposed to be good. Like no one, Madison's in it, but for like 10 minutes. She's with the guy from Deadpool 2, Josh Valentine. Forgot his name. Josh Valentine. And then, of course, the big guys here. We got, of course, Rebecca Hall playing Dr. Eileen Andrews, Alexander Skarsgård playing Dr. Nathan Lind, and we have Kaylee Hotel, I almost said Hottie, as Gia. And those are like the three brand new newcomers to the series. And at first I was a bit kind of weirded out because I'm like, alright, this could work, but it seems like this MonsterVerse is a little directionless in terms of its characters, because you get the guys in Godzilla 1, then they just F away, they're gone. Even though it's explained, they're gone. And then you have, obviously a few of the characters from, Godzilla King of the Monsters returns in this, but then you have all these new people, and they're like, okay, Kong has been in Skull Island kind of under this dome thing, like regular show for like X amount, I think 10 years. And, if you watch the Kong Skull Island anime, we know that Kong has this history with this girl, and dog, and all these characters. And then we have this stuff where you get the girl Gia. She's deaf because I believe she's like an descendant of going down. No, a descendant of the Uga people or whatever from the Kong Skull Island film, like that indigenous tribe. They all got wiped out. She's like the last survivor. So her and Eileen, Andrews, that's right. They're kind of teaming up, and she's kind of like adopting her, basically. And, it works, it's fine, but it just feels a little bit directionless where you have Nathan Lind, you have Andrews, and you have Gia, and they're like, alright, I know they're with a different group of Monarch and whatnot, they're with a different, affiliation. It does feel a bit random, though, and I do like that they do pay homage to Skull Island, the movie, and, obviously all of this stuff is canon. It's all connected, which I like. But at the same time, there are some aspects where I'm like, yeah, it's a little loose. Like Serizawa's in it and he's bad, then he just dies. Or Lance Reddick is, he's in this, he's in the title thing. He's in the thing. And then he says like, here we go, John Wick, let's go. And then that's it. I was like, alright, that works, I guess. So there's little things like that where you're like, alright, maybe this could work, maybe it could be a little bit different, but not too big of a negative. I do think it is a very fast-paced film, and there are some things they could have easily taken more time with and explained further so that because I'm not gonna lie, I'm sitting there watching this movie, and I'm paying attention, and I'm liking it, but I literally had to pause the film and Google it, because I'm like, why is Kong here? Who the fudge is Gia? What's going on? Who's Dr. Nathan Lind? Why are they looking for Hollow Earth? How are they getting to Hollow Earth? Why is this British old rich guy like, I want you to get to Hollow Earth? And obviously when you watch the movie it all makes sense. I'm not an idiot, but I don't know where that Alan guy, the Christopher Walken dude, or not Walken, the epic guy from King of the Monsters, the guy's like, hello, and you're working for me, Madison's mother, boom, and he shoots everyone in the beginning. Maybe he died. I didn't see it. I don't know. But I don't know where the heck he's at. But, whatever. And then we get, of course, Maddie. This kind of like X-plot of Maddie, or side plot of Maddie and Josh working with Brian Terry Henry, Bernie Hayes, who's like, hey, my wife's dead, and I have this thing, and we're hunting monsters, and you know, he's kind of like this conspiracy theorist podcast guy, kind of like me, but without the monsters and conspiracy theory. And with that all being considered, you have that plot, and again, it's not that crazy. Brian Tyree Henry is good in this film. He does do a lot of jokes. He's very close to being the Black Flash. You know what I mean? He's very close to being a Flash-like character, and that could work. But it seems like every joke he's like, hey, I'm cool. Or it's like, ah! You know, he's just like, he's whatever. Like, he plays an idiot well, but, you know, he's an adult. And you get, like, 16, 17-year-old Maddie, who's, like, a badass, and you have this adult man who's screeching like a toddler. I know it's supposed to be funny, but I don't know, I find that kind of weird. But really, we're all here for the big-ass monster fights, and that's what we get in this film. Really good stuff. There's a lot of lore regarding the Hollow Earth and all that kind of like location, where they try to get there and they kind of, you know, oh, this is Kong's, like, his heritage land, and a lot of stuff happened here, and a lot of crazy things regarding, you know, the past, where the, you know, the Kong people and the Godzilla people, not people, but the monsters, they had this crazy little, you know, battle, and they had this really badass, like, God of War looking axe that, like, heats up, and Kong just attacks the thing. We get Mecha Godzilla, which is really effing cool. I think I saw that in a trailer, but I forgot about it, so that was cool. So there's a lot of really awesome fight scenes in this, but I feel like this movie is the perfect example of style over substance. Really good action, really good fight scenes, and again, it does make sense if you pay attention, which thankfully I was. I had to do one or two Google things. I thought they went to the Hollow Earth. I thought they were back at Skull Island for a minute, but they went to Hollow Earth, and the gravity's all crazy. The CGI holds up, obviously, because, you know, it's the newest one. Really good CGI. Nothing really to complain about there. But again, there are just certain things I wish they had more time to kind of go with. Because I felt like this was almost like a Captain America Civil War and a Batman v Superman situation, where it's like, alright, we have these two good guys, quote unquote, attacking. Who's going to win, right? The marketing, one will fall, one will die. And we're like, oh, who's going to win? And then, of course, they pulled the cheap shot, and they're like, it's actually a stalemate. You know, it's like, alright. We've been seeing that like 15 freaking times over. I want to see Kong over Godzilla die. Now, I know they're making another one, Godzilla X Kong. So I'm assuming, I hit the door. I'm assuming they go for, you know, they kill Elon Musk and they acquire X. I'm assuming that's what the X stands for. But we'll have to wait and see. But I am very excited to see what the next in the MonsterVerse has on store. Again, I do like Nathan Lane as a character, and I like these new characters. But I just wish that we kind of had more, I guess, you know what I mean? Like a thing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, I wish it was more connected, so to speak. And it does make sense, and it is connected. And I'm not, you know, trying to sound like it's not. It is. But again, the shorter length, the runtime of the film does make me kind of wonder, they could have done more with this, and they could have expanded on this lore, instead of being like, alright, fight scene, and then, you know, he goes to the thing, and he finds the axe, and then they're like, fight scene, and then it's over. I like that. Like I said, I don't hate this movie. In fact, it's a really good movie. Like I said, my real big issue is just that pacing again, because there are things I felt like maybe they cut out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they did, because why the hell would you cast all these people like Lance Reddick and have a Serizawa's son? Like, I guess that's him, right? I mean, his last name is Serizawa, but he's in it for like 5 minutes, and then they get the Ghidorah head thing, which makes sense. A lot of lore, you know what I mean? Like, I still think that Kong Skull Island is the best made. It's just the least confusing. It's very cut and dry. It's just a Kong movie, and it's badass. And I love Godzilla. I really like Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I really enjoy this one as well. A lot of really great action, but in terms of the story and the plot, I feel like it was a bit rushed. Overall, though, it is a good film. I really do highly recommend it. Again, it's the latest in the MonsterVerse, and I really don't have that much to complain about. There's a few things where, you know, okay, Maddie's dad, like I said, he's barely in it. You get the side plot with I forgot his name already. I put my phone away. Oh, man, that's not good. But, you know, the guy, the Brian Tyree Henry guy. And, of course, Josh Valentine and Madison Russell, they kind of all go on this little side quest and all that. They're trying to kind of piece together what's going on here. And why Godzilla is, like, attacking the crap out of people for no reason. That confused me, too. I had to Google that. Because I go into this movie and Godzilla just, you know, do it. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought he was the good guy. And, of course, again, like I said, they do explain it, thankfully. But it just, you know, a few story things, right, I kind of got a bit confuzzled and bedoozled, you know what I mean? In terms of, I'm like, what's going on? Why is this character doing that? Why is this character not in here? Where's that guy? Why is he dead? You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like there's a little bit of inconsistency in the storytelling, because they're clearly trying to make this an interconnected world, but they're not doing the best job of it like the MCU used to do, or like the Skywalker saga does. You know what I mean? And I think this universe works best when it's just monsters beating the crap out of other monsters. That's where it's best at. Really great action, really good CGI, really fun time to watch. But when you really break it down and try to understand the story, it will make sense, and it does. It's just a little bit rough around the edges. So hopefully with Godzilla buys X with Kong and they go into business, hopefully that will be a little bit more sensible in terms of the narrative. But overall, I enjoyed this movie. I do think it's hard to make a ranking, man. Obviously, Kong Skull Island is still number 1. And then I'd probably have to go Godzilla 1. And then, it's tough. Because I think King of the Monsters has a better plot regarding the character, like the human characters. But the action in Godzilla vs. Kong is much better in just terms of like what we get. You know, because like it's Kong versus Godzilla. That's a badass fight. That's cool. So it's tough, you know what I mean? It really is tough to rank these movies. I do like them all, though. I'm very grateful that I was, given these as fan mail. I really appreciate that, and I really am glad I saw them. It took me a while, but I'm glad I finally made it there. So I'm going to give Godzilla vs. Kong, I almost said Kong versus Godzilla. Godzilla vs. Kong, I don't know, man. It's tough because, again, a lot of it does work. And it's fun. Some of it is genuinely funny. Amazing CGI, like incredible CGI. It's like I hate bringing up 9/11, but it's like 9/11 times 50 because you get these two giant ass monsters beating the shit out of each other in a city, and like you see buildings crumble and all the glass particles and the shards. It looks really pretty despite what's going on being horrible. It looks nice. Like the CGI looks really good. Again, there are some story things where I'm like, all right, this could be explained more, or they should have taken more time to talk about this instead of just. I feel like the big criticism of King of the Monsters was, oh, it's too boring and there's too much talking. We want action. And I felt like, all right, let's give them action. Let's Kong versus Godzilla. Let's have them fight. And from that, I think they kind of made the story suffer a little bit. But it still is fun. It still is a really well-made film. And I'm very glad I watched all these. But again, I'm going to give Godzilla vs. Kong. Again, it's a tough one. It's hard to rate this one because I really enjoyed it. But there were some things I felt a little iffy on. But I'll probably give the movie an A-. I think it was a pretty good film. All things considered, the comedy you can kind of look past, just kind of whatever. Really, like I said, the biggest negative are the story beats and all that, which aren't horrible. It gets the job done. G is cool and all that. I like that, she's kind of teaching Kong sign language. There's some really good stuff in there. But there's some things that were lacking as well. But overall, the action is great. The story, for the most part, is pretty good. And I am genuinely excited to see what happens next regarding Maddie and Josh and Brian Tyree Henry's character and Gia and Lind and Andrews and all these characters, hopefully are in this next one. I know Brian is, but we'll have to see what happens, regarding the other stuff. But I am excited, man. Again, I need to. I saw the trailer for New Empire about. I think when I saw Wonka, I never reviewed Wonka. Oh, well, if you want me to, I'll do it. I forgot. But yeah, when I saw Wonka, it was a good movie. But when I saw Wonka, I was like, oh, I need to see this movie. But now that I have seen the entirety of the MonsterVerse so far, except for that Monarch show, I am really excited. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I was sent this. So thank you, Recon Trooper. I really appreciate it, my dude. And I can't wait to watch the next step in this awesome MonsterVerse. I really enjoyed all these movies, man. I think Skull Island is still my favorite, the Kong film. But all of them are really good, and I am glad I saw them because at the end of the day, they're pretty fun movies, lots of action, lots of funny moments, and a pretty good plot. On the surface, you think it's just monster fighting a monster, but the human stuff is also pretty good. And, of course, those monster fights, they're pretty sick. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.